Next up is John Frankfurter. And John is an S-scale modeler all his life. And when we started this series, he was the first one to raise his hand. So he's our guinea pig in doing this one. But we hope we'll get a lot more people that are interested and that want to. This is a watch me build. John, thanks so much for doing it. Looking forward to doing it.
Okay. Okay, this is a recap from last week. This is scratch building for the beginner. If you're getting into model railroading and you don't know anything about it, and you've tried a few models, we'd love to have you come on the show and talk about what you've done. So a few things we talked about last week is where do you get the parts for your model, basic tools to start with, how to make measurements for your model, different types of glues for different type of materials, different scales to model in, what's the scale factor for your model, and an example for measuring scale measurements. We were at a train show last weekend, and as far as the tools go, I'm not sure if you can see this. It's called a finger light. Basically what it is a LED with a switch on it, 3 batteries. You tape it on, has an elastic band that you slip on your finger and allows you to work and have a little work light to see where you're working at. I sent Jim a link to one on that I found on the internet, which was $1.08, but by the time shipping, it was like over $6 or $7. So I think it's more, if you can find one at a train show or something, I think it's a nice little tool to help you along. So in building my bridge, this is my general look at my layout. It's something I found on the internet. I was looking for the quote ultimate layout to fit in my 15 by 24 foot garage. So if you look right here where the red lines are, this is a separate table from the rest of the layout. And this is where my bridge is going to go. I looked around on the internet quite a bit. I think I spent like a week or so looking for bridge designs and something I could find in a full-scale model. I really couldn't find anything. So I was on Thingiverse and I happened to see this arch bridge design. I kind of liked it. I don't have a 3D printer, and I didn't want to spend the time to learn how to 3D print. So I thought maybe I could get that. I could figure out how to make that from scratch to fit into the space I needed. So here's the picture of my I'm going to call it my gorge because that's what it's going to end up being. But I used 2-inch foam so that I could use it for like to mount the bridge and stuff like that. So this is, ignore this right here. That's my other bridge design. But what I did here is give myself 2 inches of foam on each side of the bridge so that I could create pillars or whatever to mount the bridge. So I sat down in my CAD program. I knew that my space was 24 inches. And when I set up the 2 tables, I put bracing in there to make sure that 24 inches did not change. So once I got that all in there, I got my 2 inches of foam on each side. So I knew that I needed to have something that was 20 inches wide. so I sit down and I looked at the picture I found on Thingiverse. I figured out I would make the supports so that I would have the odd number in the middle because I wanted something special in the middle. So I put this information in my CAD and I just started drawing it out. Well, some of the measurements I took off of the model. Since I didn't have the physical model, I just used the picture I had to get an estimate of this distance right here and this distance out here. And when you're doing scratch building without any plans, that's kind of what you have to do. You have to kind of estimate what you think it's going to be and still make it look good to fit on your layout. Now, since I model in S-scale, it's really hard to find too much in S-scale that has the plans for it. Sure, you can buy models, but you know, $7,500 or whatever, that's a little rich for me if I can actually make it. So I have this little 7-watt laser that I've been playing with. And so I used the design that I drew up on my CAD and I cut out the design. I used 3mm plywood because that's, with the 7-watt laser, that's about the maximum thickness I could cut without it turning into a pile of flames. If you notice on this picture here, I also put in gusset plates and rivets. And with the laser, I think that's pretty cool. So I think it took me like about 30 minutes to an hour or something to cut one of these out, just because it's only a 7-watt laser. So this is what it looks like when I got done cutting it out. And to me, I thought that was awesome. It looks like the gusset plates are right in there. The rivets are there. And so I was pretty excited. So I know this is kind of short tonight, but I have more design work to do. The next one, in the next session, I'll talk about how I designed the deck for the bridge, because that is totally separate. I'll go through the bridge assembly. I'll go through the paints I used, and we'll go through the finishing touches to the bridge and some of the things I added on as a sort of an afterthought that I thought that would give the bridge a little bit better detail. So if there's any questions, that's it for me.
Well, John, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Look forward to the next presentation from you. Thanks again.